Welcome to War Bios, the podcast that delves into the most pivotal conflicts in history, and I'm your host, General Biography. Today we're going to explore one of the most decisive battles of the ancient world, the Battle of Gaugamela, fought on October 31 BC. This epic clash between the Persian Empire and the Macedonian army led by Alexander the Great would change the course of history, shaping the fate of empires and civilizations for centuries to come. The year is 3034 BC, and Alexander III of Macedon, commonly known as Alexander the Great, has just crossed the Hellespont with his army, marking the beginning of his campaign against the Persian Empire. The Persians, under the rule of Darius III, had been expanding their empire for centuries, incorporating various territories and cultures into their vast domain. Their empire stretched from the Indus River in the east to the Mediterranean Sea in the west, and from Egypt in the south to the Caucasus region in the north. The Persian Empire was a complex and multifaceted entity with a rich cultural heritage and a sophisticated system of governance. At its core was the concept of the King of Kings, where the emperor held absolute power and authority over his subjects. The Persians were also known for their impressive military prowess, with a powerful cavalry force and a well-organized infantry. As Alexander's army marched through Asia Minor, they encountered various Persian satraps or governors who controlled the different regions of the empire. These satraps were responsible for raising troops from their respective territories, which would ultimately form the backbone of the Persian army. The Persians also possessed a formidable cavalry force, comprised of skilled horsemen from the eastern provinces, including Bactria and Sogdiana. In the years leading up to the Battle of Gaugamela, Alexander's campaign had been marked by a series of stunning victories against the Persians. He had defeated the satraps of Asia Minor at the Battle of Granicus in 334 BC, and then gone on to conquer the strategic city of Halicarnassus in Caria. The following year, he defeated the Persian king Darius III himself at the Battle of Issus, which gave him control over the entire eastern Mediterranean coast. Despite these setbacks, the Persians remained determined to resist Alexander's advance. They chose the plains of Gaugamela as the site for their next battle, hoping to utilize their numerical superiority and the open terrain to crush the Macedonian phalanx. The armies of Alexander and Darius are about to clash in a conflict that will decide the fate of empires and leave an indelible mark on the course of human civilization. The year is 331 BC, and the armies of Alexander the Great and Darius III are about to clash on the vast plains of Mesopotamia. As the two forces face off, the tension is palpable, with the fate of empires hanging precariously in the balance. The battlefield itself was a sight to behold, with the Persian army stretching out as far as the eye could see, their brightly colored banners and standards flapping in the gentle breeze. As the two armies drew closer, the air was filled with the sound of clashing steel, the scent of sweat and blood hanging heavy over the landscape. Alexander, ever the master strategist, had chosen his ground carefully, selecting a site that would allow him to maximize the effectiveness of his phalanx formation. The Persian army, on the other hand, relied heavily on its cavalry, which was deployed on the flanks in an attempt to outmaneuver the Macedonians. However, Alexander was prepared for this, and he had stationed his own cavalry, led by the fearless companion cavalry, on the wings of his phalanx. As the battle commenced, the Persian cavalry charged forward with reckless abandon, only to be met by the impenetrable wall of Macedonian spears. The companions, meanwhile, held their ground against the enemy horsemen, buying time for Alexander to launch a decisive counterattack. According to the ancient historian Arrian, the Persians, thinking that they could easily surround the Macedonians and attack them from all sides, charged forward with a loud shout, but the Macedonians stood firm, like a wall of bronze, and repelled the enemy with their long spears. As the battle raged on, Alexander's tactical brilliance became increasingly evident. He had deliberately weakened his center, enticing the Persians to attack, while secretly preparing a devastating counterattack. The moment of truth arrived when the Persian cavalry, thinking they had broken through the Macedonian lines, found themselves face to face with Alexander's elite hypaspists, who cut them down with ruthless efficiency. The turning point of the battle came when Alexander himself led a daring charge against the Persian center, smashing through the enemy lines and sending Darius III fleeing in terror. The Persian army, leaderless and demoralized, began to falter, and soon they were in full retreat. As the dust settled, the Macedonians emerged victorious, having secured one of the most stunning upsets in military history. His leadership had created a sense of unity and purpose among his men, who were willing to follow him to the ends of the earth. The year is 3031 BC, and the Persian Empire, once the dominant power in the region, lies shattered and broken. The consequences of this battle will be far-reaching, shaping the course of human civilization for centuries to come. As the dust settled on the battlefield, Alexander's army began to consolidate its gains, securing key cities and territories throughout Mesopotamia. The Persian Empire, leaderless and demoralized, was unable to resist the Macedonian advance. Babylon, the capital city of the empire, fell to Alexander without a fight, its gates opening to the conqueror as he rode into the city on October 30, 31 BC. The impact on the Persian Empire was devastating. The battle marked the beginning of the end of the Achaemenid dynasty, which had ruled Persia for over 2 centuries. Darius III, the last king of the empire, fled to Ecbatana, where he would eventually be murdered by one of his own satraps, Bessus. The Persian Empire was subsequently divided into smaller satrapies, with Macedonian governors installed to oversee the administration of these territories. The rise of Macedonian dominance had significant consequences for the ancient world. Alexander's campaign marked the beginning of a new era of Greek cultural and military supremacy, as Greek language, culture, and philosophy spread throughout the conquered territories. The city of Babylon, once a center of Persian power, became a hub of Greek learning and culture, with scholars and philosophers flocking to the city to study and translate the works of Aristotle and other great Greek thinkers. The legacy of Alexander's campaign can be seen in the many cities he founded, including Alexandria in Egypt, which would become a major center of culture and learning for centuries to come. The spread of Greek culture had a profound impact on the development of Western civilization, shaping art, literature, philosophy, and science in ways that are still felt today. His vision for a unified empire, where Greek and Persian cultures could coexist and flourish, was a bold and ambitious one, and it would have far-reaching consequences for the ancient world. In conclusion, the Battle of Gaugamela marked a turning point in ancient history as the Persian Empire fell to the rising power of Macedon. The consequences of this battle were profound, shaping the course of human civilization for centuries to come. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.